Hey, we are live, and some of you are here nice and early. Zan the man, Marcus is here. Dude, I love that picture of you, Marcus. Those glasses look amazing. Let me know in the chat box that you can see me and hear me. We're a couple minutes early, as I like to do, just to make sure the tech is working before we get started. And so, yeah, that you can see me and hear me, and then let me know where you are tuning in from. I did a live workshop yesterday with my buddy Ryan, and there were people from all over the world: South Africa, Israel, South America. It was insane. It was all over the place. So yes, Greg is here. Zan says yes. Zan, you're in Vegas. Awesome. Greg says, you look just like Graham Cochran. I know. Isn't that crazy? We've got people from Dubai here. I love it. Caltham, glad to have you. Kara, I can see in here. Tampa here. Oh, okay, fellow Tampanian. What do we call ourselves? Tampanian. Greg is in Chicago. Marcus is in Switzerland. Zan, thanks for coming to the workshop yesterday. We've got Krivas in the Dominican Republic. We've got Teachucation from San Diego. Oh, I love San Diego. You have great weather there and good food. Mark is from Canada. Awesome. Adelaide. How do you pronounce your name? Adelaide? That's cool. I haven't seen that. South Florida, Sunrise, Florida. Yep. Dr. McFarland in Nashville. We got Jacob in North Carolina. Kara, so yeah, it says Tampanians. Yep, exactly. Tyler in Richmond. What's up, Tyler? Bro, I missed you, man. How are you guys doing? Honored to have you jiving in with us today. It's funny. I thought about you, Tyler, because I don't think I have it now because I have a video guy that updated it, but I had the footage you had of me at Creative at Heart. Like, you know, you had that sweet camera that a couple of years ago, and I took that footage and I had it forever in my intro. A couple of shots of that, and I always think of you when I see it. Okay, so it's a mix of Ada and Lydia. Adelaide. Okay, that's awesome. Adelaide. I've never seen that. That is a cool name. Another San Diego. We've got Boise, Idaho. We've got Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Awesome. Costa Rica. Matthew, no, I'm not coming on TikTok. I'll tell you what, I was clued into TikTok in early 2019 before anybody was really on TikTok. And people are like, you got to get on TikTok before it blows up. And I was like, well, what do you do on TikTok? I'm like, well, you just dance. And I was like, oh, I just don't know. I don't know. Oh, man, I love it. All right, a lot of people here. Thanks for coming on time. I'm going to give people one more minute, and then we'll get started. If you are joining us live, again, let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're catching the replay after the fact, or you come in late, mid live, and you rewind it or whatever, it's totally fine. I'm grateful to have you here. That's the good thing about these lives, is that they're fun while we're here live. And if you're here, then you get to ask me questions. And if not, the content will still be valuable. What we're going to do is, like we started this last week, this is a brand new series. This is something I've been wanting to do. I made time in my schedule to be able to commit to it every week. Every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern, as long as I'm not on vacation or traveling or something, I'm going to go live here, teach for about 20 minutes, and then open the floor up to questions about what we talked about primarily, but you know, we can get off on tangents as well. So I'm just happy to have you here. We have Spain in the house. Matthew says, I made 20,000. You make 20,000 a month from your business on TikTok, and it's more than just dancing. Good for you. So then you have to give me the scoop. Send me an email and let me know what your TikTok strategy is. That's awesome. Okay, so we are here today to talk about working less. So this is one of my favorite topics. So let me know in the chat if you are excited to work less. It's not just going to be theory today. I'm going to give you actionable tips so that you can actually take action today to begin to reduce your work hours, which is really, really important to me. And so as we talk about this, I just want to make it clear why I want you to work less. This is kind of like, I want to give you oxygen in contrast to what everyone else is telling you, because it's not just on YouTube. It's not just business coaches. It's everybody. Everyone in the world is telling you to do more, right? And they may be, they have good intentions. Here's a great strategy that works. Like TikTok is a good example. When TikTok blew up, it's like, oh, now you should add TikTok to the list. And that may be a good idea. I mean, Matthew's making $20,000 a month off of it. So that could be a great idea, but it also could be just another thing added to the plate of all the things that you already have on your plate. And what it becomes, it feels like more shoulds in your life. Like, I love it when people say you should all over yourself, right? I should do this. I should be on TikTok. I should be posting to Instagram more. I should be doing webinars. I should be running Facebook ads, which if you caught my podcast yesterday, I'm not a big fan, and they're not as effective now thanks to a lot of privacy law changes, but all should. And so some people, and this might be you, that might motivate you, or it might motivate you at first to be like, oh, okay, here's the stuff I'm going to do. Even Graham's telling me I should do content marketing and I should not be doing Facebook ads, or I should go live on YouTube, or whatever it would be. It might motivate you at first, but at some point, and you can let me know in the chat if you've ever felt this, it starts to just become like just a huge, heavy burden. And then what happens is you're like, wait, I got into starting a business because I wanted freedom. I wanted flexibility. I wanted it to be life-giving. Like, I wanted to come into my office or go to a coffee shop or wherever, open up my laptop and do something that is fun, that is, satisfying and fulfilling, and have the freedom to do it when I want, how I want to do it. And so if that's the case, you got to understand that freedom doesn't come from just doing more and pushing through. Freedom comes from doing less. The lie is, once I've done enough stuff, then I'll be free to do whatever I want. I'm telling you, you can do less now while you still work on your goals. So it's not a either or, and it's certainly not a wait until I've optimized my business in such a way that it's now relatively on autopilot, like Graham talks about, and then I can be free. No, you can work less now while you build your business. And that's what I want to help you do today. So we're going to go over 3 ways to work less, 2 specific tools that you can actually implement to work less, and then 2, maybe 3, if you want to go bonus, exercises for you to do, basically homework for you to do after this live today. And then we'll open the floor up for questions. So Kara says, yes, it starts to feel like a chore. That's what we don't want more chores. I agreed. Wait, sometimes like my wife would joke on me, like a Monday holiday would come up. Like, we just had Labor Day. And in the past, a Monday holiday would come up, but Martin Luther King Jr. Day or President's Day or Labor Day or Memorial Day. And I would go into the office and she's like, what are you doing? Isn't it a national holiday? And because I'm not working with anybody, I would kind of forget. And I'm like, oh yeah, but I probably should work. She's like, why? You work for yourself. Like, you're the boss. Like, be a nice boss to yourself, And that's what happens, is we become bad bosses to ourselves. So I want you to be freed up to work less. And when you work less, what's going to happen is you're going to realize, oh, it didn't affect my bottom line. My business is still growing or making the same amount of money, or actually is growing more, which is what happened to me. And then that gets you addicted to becoming efficient and working less and finding ways to just optimize your business, and it becomes a fun game. And then you'll have flexibility to do what you want when you want. And if there's a week that's work heavy, you don't have to feel bad about that if you're launching or building something new and you're excited about it, but you are in control of your business and it's not in control of you. All right, end of setup. Let's talk about the simple 3 ways to work less, because it really is a formula. There's really only 3 things you can do, okay? You can eliminate tasks from your weekly or monthly to do. You can automate some of those tasks using software or tools so that the robots do it for you, or you can delegate it to another person. Okay, eliminate, automate, or delegate. Those are basically your only 3 options, because the only way to work less is to do less, right? That's the unfortunate. There's no magic, but you have to literally just stop doing all the stuff that you're doing. So you want to think about those 3 things: eliminate, automate, delegate, and you want to think of them in that order. Okay, it is very trendy right now to hire a virtual assistant. Just pay someone else to do that thing that you're doing. That's great advice to a point, but that advice should come after 2 other steps. There's no point in outsourcing a meaningless task to someone else. It's a waste of your money, because you're now paying them to do something that doesn't actually make a difference in your business. And it's a waste of their time, because now they're literally, they're getting paid, so maybe they don't care, but they are literally doing pointless work that you could eliminate from your business. or automate a piece of software that you could buy for $25 a month or $50 a month that does it for you. So you want to start in the hardest place, which is eliminating. And the hard reality, and we'll get into this in just a second, is that most of what you're doing isn't necessary. We think it's necessary, or we're not sure, so we just do it anyway because we struggle with what I call momentum theory, which is if you're getting momentum and you're doing a bunch of things, you don't really know what's leading to growth in your business. So the fear is, well, I don't want to take my foot off the gas because what if it's this thing or that thing? I don't know what it is. So I'm just going to keep doing all the same things I've always been doing. Like, don't mess with it because it's kind of working. And I identify with that. Like, I'm afraid to touch things because what if it breaks it? So it takes a lot of courage to eliminate, but I'm going to be honest with you. When I talk to people, when I coach business owners, when I hear them in my community or my mastermind, and we look at what they're doing, when I use myself as an example, I'm always surprised. There's stuff that I'm doing that if I really look into it, isn't really moving the needle. So we want to eliminate first, automate what you can't eliminate, but automate it. If you can pay a piece of software to do it, that's going to save you money and it'll be more efficient than a person. And then whatever is left that is necessary for the business that you can't get rid of, you can't automate, and that you don't have to do yourself. And one way to think about this is what activities don't require my face, my voice, or my unique skill set. That's a helpful framework for you to then say, well, then I could probably hire someone to do those things. Anybody can be trained to do it the way you want. Anybody can be trained to do your system. But as long as it doesn't require your face or your voice or your unique skill set, then you can, assuming there's some money there, begin to outsource it. So let's talk about, that's great, Graham. That's great theory. Let's talk about 2 tools that help me to work less. I talk about them all the time. So if you've heard these before, this will hopefully reinforce it for you. And if you haven't heard them, this will be new to you. And if you have heard them but haven't done anything with them, then this is going to be my plea to you to actually do something. And they both start with a P. There's Pareto's principle and Parkinson's law. Okay, so Pareto's principle is more commonly known as the 80-20 rule. And I love this because you see it universally true across all cultures, all businesses, not even businesses, like all kinds of walks of life. And it's a ratio, a relationship between effort and results. So for example, the 80-20 rule would say that 80% of your business income comes from 20% of your products or services. So you might have 5 products, but really one is your best seller and it's making 80% of your revenue. If you're a YouTuber or a content creator like I am, and many of you are, you've probably seen that 80% of your views come from 20% of your videos. I put out videos every week and I have for 12 years. I think they're all pretty good. Some are better than others, but it's only a handful, maybe 5 or 6 that drive, I think, over 95% of my views. It's very lopsided. So it's not always 80-20, but it's lopsided. You see this in my church and in most volunteer organizations. It's 20% of the people doing 80% of the work. You know, it's 80% of the donations come from 20% of the members of a church or an organization, right? So it's always lopsided, but that's relevant to you and I when it comes to, okay, you have a list of activities that you're spending your days, your weeks, your months on, and they're probably all good. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing them. So I don't want to poo-poo any of the things you're doing, but they're not all equal. They're just not all equal. And the problem is we treat our activities or our to-do lists as if they're all equally weighted. I got 20 things to do and I got to do them all. You might have 20 things that you think you have to do, but not all 20 are as important. There's, mathematically speaking, going to be 4 or 5 of those 20 that really are going to generate 80% of the results in your business. And that could be leads, that could be revenue, whatever it is. So if you want to work less, embrace the 80-20 rule, embrace Pareto's principle, and start to do what I call an 80-20 analysis. We'll talk about this in just a second, where you're honest with yourself about, here's all the things I do. What do the activities really make a difference? If you can't be honest with yourself, you're going to have a hard time working less because you're going to feel that everything you do is important. And I get that. I want to feel like I'm important. I want to come home from the day and feel like, dude, everything I did was important, but it's not always. So the key for the reason why it doesn't take me many hours to run my business is because I've eliminated, automated, and delegated absolutely everything I can think of. And I struggle when it comes to delegation. I'm better at eliminating. I'm better at automating. My weak spot is delegation because I just don't trust people to do it the way I've done it. It took me a long time to make my first hire, and that was just someone to do email for me, to do my customer service email. I mean, they respond to complaints and issues and refund requests and people needing their password reset, things like that. I, for some reason, thought that would be impossible for me to hire somebody to get in my inbox. But delegation, those three things have allowed me to keep the business moving forward, but it's also allowed me to grow the business because what I'm doing, if you eliminate 80% of what you're doing and you just do 20%, well, you've now freed up 80% of your time. But what if you then double down on the 20%? Now you're still only spending 40% of the time you were spending. So about half or a little bit less than half of the hours you were spending, but you could get double the results or at least 150% of the results, right? Which is incredible. So, or 75% growth, right? Yeah, double 75% to 100% growth because you are doing twice as much of the important stuff. So for example, for me, creating content, this is a good example, this Live with Graham. Why am I doing this? This is a good use of my time. Why? Because when I do content, it pushes the brand forward. It helps me get more leads and it helps me grow the business because I have everything set up to do that. If you don't know if you don't have your business set up though in the right way to automate a lot of this stuff, like if you're a service-based business or you're a promotion launch only model, then it's going to be hard. So I want to give you something to help you as you're starting to think through this, and is a workshop to walk you through my passive income model. This is how I've built both of my businesses. This is going to show you the 4 components you need to generate income relatively passively. And what it means is it's going to show you the work that you really need to do, which is really minuscule because you're going to have an automated system. And then you're going to start to see, well, what is Graham doing? He's doing exactly the 4 things that I'm talking about in this workshop, and only those things. I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on social media posting all the time or interacting. I've got someone doing Instagram for me who's just chopping up my videos and posting them, who's putting quotes up for me. Like I'm not the person doing that because it's not the best use of my time, because that's not where the money is. The money is in me doing content like this, promoting my lead magnets. Then I know people are going to go through my email funnel. They'll hear about my products and services. And then when I open up my membership or my mastermind or launch a new product, they're going to be on my list. That's how I scale, by doing a small amount of work. And you can do that too with this passive income model. I want you to go watch it, at least go opt in for it. And it's on demand. You can watch it whenever you want. So it's flexible. But after this, if you have more time, before you start working less, spend a little bit of time with me in this workshop, because I think it'll be time well spent as you begin to automate your business. Just go to grahamcochran.com/workshop. So 80-20 rule is critical, knowing what that 20% is. And we'll talk about that in a second. And then the second tool I use is Parkinson's Law. Parkinson's Law is fascinating, right? It says that work expands to fill the time you give it to complete. That's true of your homework or school project. That's true of a video you're filming for YouTube. If you're like, okay, I'm going to spend the day filming this video, it's going to take you the day to film it. If you say, I'm going to give myself 2 hours to film this video, you're going to find a way to get it done. It's creating an arbitrary short deadline that makes you focused, because you're like, okay, if I only have 2 hours to do this, then it doesn't matter if that plant's in the perfect spot. It doesn't matter if my lav mic is in the perfect spot. Okay, I just got to move on. What are the main notes? What is the main content going to be? And I want to do good enough. It helps you to just do good enough, and good enough is enough to grow a successful business. Perfection isn't the goal. Good enough is. So Parkinson's Law is just a good thing to keep in the back of your mind. And these are 2 things I'd always heard of. It was Tim Ferriss in his book, The 4-Hour Work Week, where I saw someone connect the 2 together and say, look, if you just spend your time identifying your 20% of activities that really make a difference in your business, and then give yourself relatively impossibly short deadlines to get those 20% done, you will be combining 2 of the most powerful things in efficiency, which is prioritizing your activities and being focused and working quickly and not giving yourself more time than needed. So if you can combine Pareto's principle, or the 80-20 rule, Parkinson's Law, all I'm doing, my friend, is that. Every year in January, usually when I was flying to Anaheim for the NAMM show, which is a music convention, That's when I would do it. I'd be on the plane. It's usually in mid to late January. I'd sit there and I would start to think through, okay, I got to do better this year. How could I be more efficient this year? Let me look again at my typical week and typical month, because some activities are monthly, like for my membership, some are weekly, some are quarterly. And is it necessary? Are those necessary? Could I eliminate? Could I automate? Could I delegate? And then could I work under a tighter timeline? So let me give you 2 exercises and really a third bonus one for you to apply, and then we'll open it up for questions. Because I don't want you to just live in theory land. Like a lot of people have heard of 80-20. And if you follow me, you've heard of Parkinson's law. I mean, eventually you will have. But that's great. But I really want you to apply this. So let me give you just 2, maybe 3 very specific activities that you can follow to do this. Okay. So number 1, and this is literally what I want you to do today when you have time, is make a list, write it down either on your notes app or your phone or a Google Doc or paper of everything you do in a given week or month for your business. And I mean everything. Is it creating a thumbnail for your video? Is it coming up with a title for your video? Is it answering customer service emails? Is it looking at your Kajabi analytics and seeing what your sales were? Or hitting refresh over and over again? Like sometimes I get stuck in that loop, like maybe more money came in while I wasn't looking 30 seconds ago. Everything you do, is it you have a team? Is it connecting with your team? Is it meetings? Is it prepping your content before you hit record? Is it stuff you do in your membership or community if you have one, including interacting with your community members, including shooting or creating new content, including refunds, dealing with customer service, everything. I want you to write down everything you do. This might take a while because some things are going to come naturally, but there's going to be some small things that you do every once in a while that you forget about. It doesn't matter if it's quick or not. Just write it all down. Everything you do in a given month or week for your business. Once you've written all that down, I want you to circle what you think are the top 20%, give or take. It can be 10%, 20, 25. The top 20% of those activities that actually lead to money in your bank account directly or new leads for your business. Okay? Which means you're going to have to ask yourself when you look at something on your list, does this activity lead directly to money in my bank account or new leads for my business? If it does, circle it. If it doesn't, move on. And don't try to justify it. Don't try to say, well, down the train, eventually it kind of does, I think. So a good example would be, this could go either way, Instagram. Does posting to Instagram directly put money in my pocket or directly lead to leads for my business? I can tell you right off the bat, for most of us, that's a big fat no for either of those. When you post, are you getting paid for that post? Unless you're doing a sponsored post or a brand deal, then that would be true. Like if you're literally getting paid from a watch company to like have a picture of you with a watch and talk about your favorite watch, then yes, that puts money, then do that, But if you're just like most people, you're posting to try to, stay top of mind or like grow your audience or engage with your audience, does that directly lead to money in your pocket? Probably no. Okay, the next question, does it directly lead to new leads for your business? That might be a maybe. If you're promoting your lead magnet and you can tell that people are clicking over from Instagram and they're getting on your list, okay, then I can make the case that that's somewhat useful. But most of us aren't using Instagram strategically, and that's how you use it, is to promote your lead magnet, to get people on your email list. Some of you, though, you actually have a consulting or coaching business and you used Instagram and you DM people and people DM you. You use it to find qualified leads that directly lead to a $3,000, $5,000 coaching package. Totally different scenario. If that's you, you're like, yes, that directly leads to a new lead for my business, which can directly lead to money, then circle it. But you have to see that there's got to be context. So I want you to just circle the ones that actually lead to money in your pocket and then the ones that actually lead or generate new leads for your business. Once you've circled, it's probably going to be around 20%. It shouldn't be half of what you do. It likely won't be half of what you do unless you've already severely optimized your business, in which case it's good. Whatever you've circled, then I want you to rewrite that down on a list that you stick to your computer or your desk or wherever near you and call that your to-do list. This is your most important to-do list. This is the oxygen for your business. This is the non-negotiable for your business. I believe if you're an info product, online course creator, membership site, even group coaching, mastermind person, I believe that content marketing is the number one thing you could be doing for your business. So that means for me is there's not going to be a week that goes by where I do not have new content coming out. I just cannot let that happen. And I haven't for 12 years. Why? Because that's the oxygen for my business. Sure, I could not post for a week or two and it would be fine. But I have made the decision to not let that be okay, because if I only did one thing this week for my business, that would be the best thing for my business today and 10 years from now, it would be to create another piece of evergreen content that's searchable, discoverable, and feeds my business through my lead magnet, my email opt-ins, all that stuff. So that is a non-negotiable for me. There's a lot of things that are negotiable though. I don't have to necessarily respond to every email in my inbox. I don't have to necessarily even get into my community and respond to every comment there, although they pay to be a part of a community where I'm active. And so I have a responsibility, but there's flexibility there, but that's still in my top 20%. Instagram doesn't matter. Any of those things, they don't matter for my business model because I decided not to build a business that requires me building on someone else's sandbox like that. So make that your to-do list. It's going to help you to stay focused. You know that those are important, but it's going to remind you these are the most important. Second activity, okay? Go back to the same list, look at the list, and ask yourself this question. Again, you have to be honest with yourself. Don't shortchange yourself. Only you can do this. What are the top 3 activities that I use to fill time to feel as though I've been productive? Okay? What are the top 3 activities on this list that I use to fill time to feel as though I've been productive? Circle those or star those or something. A lot of times for people, that's email, responding to email. For a lot of YouTubers, it's responding to every YouTube comment. Or social media is a big culprit for this. It feels productive in a strange way to clear through comments, posts, DMs, emails. And you also kind of know inherently, this is good. I'm engaging with my audience and I'm showing up. I'm not just being a recluse. But it's not on your top 20% for most of us because it doesn't lead to income in your pocket or new leads. If I respond to, and no offense to you, because I really appreciate you, you're here, you're watching this. If I respond to your comment on YouTube or not, it doesn't move my business forward. Now, do I think it's good for business to be engaged? Sure. But you have to be honest with yourself that at some point you're going to scale and you have to make sure that what you're doing in your business scales. Now, early on, if you can respond to every comment and you have the margin for that and you enjoy it, by all means do that. I used to do that on the Recording Revolution for the first year of my YouTube channel, all of 2010, because I started my first video was really in December of 2009, but January 2010, I officially rebranded and started the Recording Revolution YouTube channel. And I prided myself on responding to every single comment. And then I remember a year in, it was growing so much that I was spending an hour or two a day just responding to YouTube comments. And I couldn't film courses. I couldn't respond to like customers that had bought something. There was no time for that. And I remember seeing a buddy of mine who had a big YouTube channel at the time in our space that was growing. And I remember he posted on YouTube and he kind of apologized without apologizing, said, guys, I'm sorry, I can't respond to your comments anymore. It's just gotten too overwhelming. And I remember thinking, you can do that? Like you can just decide not to respond to YouTube comments? And that was like a novel concept to me that I didn't owe it to you or to them back then to respond to every comment. I never thought about that. And so that gave me the freedom to say, yeah, I can't keep this up. I mean, I'm dying on the vine here. It's possible, but if the channel continues to grow, it's going to be really hard. And a lot of newer YouTubers don't realize that. I have friends that have 2 million, 3 million subscribers on YouTube who employ 2 to 3 people full time to respond to YouTube comments as them. They're paying 3 people's full-time salaries to respond to comments, and they still respond to them as well. And I've told him, like, look, this is not important. And he disagrees. He thinks it's really important. But I'm like, I'm like, dude, you're going to burn out. This doesn't put money in your pocket. This doesn't move your business forward. So it's hard though, because you feel bad and you want to do these things and you might like engaging with your audience. I get it. But at some point you have to, again, be a CEO, not just be a YouTuber or a content creator. You have to make hard decisions of, is this best for the business? And is this best for me to not die on the vine and burn out? Because I want to be in business for 10, 20, 30 years. And I can't do that if I just like burn out. So very, very important. What are the top 3 activities that you're using to fill time to feel as though you've been productive? And be honest with yourself. Circle those 3 or star those 3 and put them on a second list or a sticky note right next to your to-do list. This is now your not to-do list. Just a simple reminder every day when you come and you sit down, like, oh, don't do those things. Okay, don't do them. Do these things, don't do these things. It's a simple exercise that will really help you. And bonus final exercise, if you want to be crazy like me, set a timer for each activity that you do in your business to create a sense of urgency. So if you've identified your top 20%, like, okay, these are the things that really matter, when you do them, take out your phone or put it on your computer and set a timer and say, I'm going to give myself 30 minutes or an hour to go through my email inbox. I'm going to give myself 30 minutes to do customer interaction in Kajabi. I'm going to do 45 minutes to do social media engagement or content creation, whatever is important to you. And it is the top 20%. Again, you get to decide, not me. So don't let me judge you for whatever you've decided is your top 20%. Whenever you have your top 20%, if you want to be a crazy person and take it to the next level, then use Parkinson's law to set a timer and say, okay, I'm going to give this an hour. I'm going to give this 30 minutes. And yeah, you're in charge of your life. If the timer goes off and you're still not done and you want to keep going, you can keep going. But it's the ticking clock in the back of your mind that reminds you, stay focused. Don't get distracted. I don't need to spend 30 minutes defending myself to this angry customer. Like, I just apologize, refund, and move on to the next person. Like, it really helps you have a sense of what truly is important because the clock's ticking. That's it. All right. So in review, only 3 ways to work less: eliminate stuff, automate what's left, and then delegate what's left after that. That's it. Eliminate, automate, delegate. And in that order, take advantage of the 80-20 rule, which is Pareto's principle, Parkinson's law, right? Look those things up, think about them, do an analysis of your to-dos, everything that you do every week or month for your business. Figure out what is your top 20%, the things that actually lead to money in your pocket or actually lead to some new leads for your business. And then look at the things that your top 2 to 3 activities that you're using just to feel productive and to keep yourself busy that aren't on that top 20%. Make those a not to-do list. And then set a timer if you want to be crazy and have a little bit of a push. I'm going to open it up to questions. So feel free. Let's dive in the chat. I'm happy to go for 15 minutes or so with you. And again, just a reminder after this, if you haven't already, take my passive income workshop. If you don't already have this automated system in place, this is the training for you. It's free. It's pretty didactic. It's about 45 minutes, and it's just pulling the curtain back on my actual business model. There's 4 components you need, how to do them in the right order. I have some scripts and templates that you can kind of swipe to just sort of use as a starting point for emails and funnels and all that kind of stuff. The tools I'm using, both cheap and free, so that you can get up and running. I started my business with $50. That's all I needed to start my business 12 years ago. It's an incredible time to be doing this. And there's better tools now that are easier to use and more professional looking. So watch that at grahamcochran.com/workshop and then implement it. How about that? That'd be even better. All right, let's take some questions. Marcus, who was here super early, says, question, I will launch a live group. Let me put this on the screen here. Live group class to my list like you suggested last week. So it's going to be 2 hours, $47 per person. The first group will get it for free as a practice run. Anything I should keep in mind? As far as the actual live class itself, like the actual teaching of it, I would say break it up. Like, I wouldn't save all your Q&A. I'd have Q&A for sure. And then I would break it up to do like teach for 45, 50 minutes and then do some questions for the last 10 minutes of that hour, and then teach the next section or the next hour and take questions after that. That gives people, it keeps them engaged, and it allows you to have a little bit of a break. When I'm teaching something like this, I like to ignore the chat while I'm presenting material. And then I know I've told them and I've set up the expectations that, hey, there will be Q&A in about 45 minutes or at the end of this section, and we'll break it up. That way they know, okay, I can save my questions. And some people don't know, or they'll miss that or have forgotten, and they'll still post questions. But then you can ignore the chat, teach your material, which will help you deliver better content. And then you can switch hats mentally and dive into questions. So that's what I would do. Kriva says, I really thought 4 hours a week was a mediocre way to see work. Then I got COVID and I couldn't work for a month or so, and money was the same. Oh, so your income didn't go down. Then what WTF was I doing working all the time? And then he says, I decided to take another month off to double check on that. Not only was money the same, it was one of the best months of my year. That day, I decided to follow your work less mantra. And yes, I've automated a lot of my business, but there was a pressure that I put on myself to feel productive because I was just doing something. Krivis, thank you for sharing that. That is an amazing testimony to it. Sometimes we don't change unless we have to. And so it sounds like COVID was a gift to you because it forced you to not work. And then it pulled the curtain back and you realize, wow, business can still hum along even when I'm not working all the time. So what a gift. Probably didn't feel like it at the time, but kudos to you, man. That's awesome. Kevin, if I join Kajabi with your affiliate link, what courses do you provide me to help me? Yeah, if you go to grahamcochran.com/Kajabi, you'll get a 30-day free trial of Kajabi if you haven't played with that. Immediately, I'm going to send you my Ready, Set, Kajabi mini course, which is like a crash course on how to build and launch your first thing in Kajabi, including there's a bonus module at the end of my like secret Kajabi ninja tactics that I use to like increase revenue when you do launches and promotions. Pretty cool stuff. And then if you become a paying member of Kajabi, just send me your receipt. And then when you've made that first payment, and then what I'll do is give you my 3-step sales copy formula mini course as a bonus. Zan says, what's your secret to becoming so good at using Kajabi? I don't know. I don't even think I'm that good. I don't think I have a secret. It's more of like, I think about what I want to do in the business and I wonder, can Kajabi do that? And sometimes it can, and sometimes it can't yet. So I have to like do workarounds to make it do what I want. And then what I do is I bug the president of Kajabi, Jonathan, who just like forwards my email to somebody else on the product development team of like, hey, Graham wants this feature, which I don't know if it carries much weight, but I ask for a lot. And some of the features have shown up. So maybe I'm just, one of many voices, but what's great about Kajabi as a company is they are committed to adding helpful new features. They get a lot of requests for features and they don't take everything, but they certainly add, I think, the ones that really, really matter. George KC says, Graham, can I teach 4 topics on how to use some software that I use, or does it have to be one topic as a niche down method? I don't know if I quite understand what you have in mind. You're 4 topics, but using the same software. I mean, if your niche is that software, I feel like you can do whatever. Are you talking about reaching 4 different audiences that use the same software? Yeah, I'm not sure I know that. Maybe you can clarify. Suleiman says, Graham, great video. The thing that annoys me is that I succeed in making important task lists, but I fail to make them a priority, which task to do first. Yeah, that's classic, right? So a lot of people have to-do lists when they don't do the things on the list. So unfortunately, there's no secret there, right? You just need discipline. And that's hard because some people are disciplined by default. Some people have to learn it. The good news is that anybody can learn it, but you have to choose to do it. I think what's helpful, if you go through the exercises we talked about today, I think what's helpful is you eliminate 80 to 90% of the things on your to-do list. What I want to do for you is give you permission to stop doing some of the things you're doing, or if you're not doing them, to at least delete them from your to-do list so you don't see them and feel that burden or that pressure. Like we talked about at the top of this, everyone's giving you more to do. So to me, I get a little more motivated to do things on my list if the list has shrunk and I've already taken the time to think through, does this really push my business forward? So I can feel good shooting a piece of content like this for you. I can feel good writing some promotional emails. I can feel good prepping some content for my membership because I know that puts money in my pocket and grows the business. So it's worth it to me because I've given myself the permission to not do other things. So they kind of go hand in hand. I hope that helps, but it's something that you will get better at. And hey, look, you do have freedom to design your weeks and your work days the way you want. Now you might still have a full-time job, so you might have to be working during certain free hours that you have, but you still have flexibility. Like one of my students, Lane, and he's in my membership, my six-figure coaching community. He had a full-time job, and he was starting his business on the side and making, $500, $1,000 a month. But he really wanted to grow it. So he got disciplined and decided, hey, I don't want to stay up late because I want to be able to go to bed with my wife and just get some good rest, but I'm willing to wake up early, an hour a day. So instead of waking up at 6 when his kids and his wife would wake up, he'd wake up at 5. And he was willing to just do what he had to do in the morning to chip away at writing a sales page, finishing up his first course. And it's slow when you only have an hour a day, but it's progress. And he was only working on what mattered. And that worked for him. He decided, I don't want to be a night owl. I'd rather be a morning person. And it worked. And he grew his business. He's doing 6, 7, 8K a month now. And he's quit his full-time job. He's been full-time in his business for a year now. July was a year. But that's what he had to do. And he had a choice. Some people like to just do it all on a Saturday. They work it out with their family or their roommates and say, hey, look, I'm going to be MIA for 4 or 5 hours on Saturday morning. And this is going to be my working on my business because it's going to lead to better opportunity for us later. So you get to decide what that looks like. Shakar says, I wish I could reach the 3-day work week that you have, Graham. You can. There's just a lot of things I just don't do. So once you've built, that's why I like online courses and evergreen products and email funnels and email marketing and evergreen content like YouTube videos. When you follow that framework, your work has legs, right? Sean Cannell has a great line he uses where he says, a good YouTube video is like an employee that works for you for free forever, right? And that's how I view YouTube videos. If I post something great on TikTok or on Instagram, if I'm smart, it might grow my business that month, but it doesn't grow my business next month or next year. If I post a good video on YouTube, it might grow my business this month and this year, and it'll also grow my business 10 years from now. So to me, that's just making good use of my time and being future thoughtful so that you can get to a three-day work week because you're just showing up and keeping the machine running, and you've outsourced a lot of things or eliminated a lot of things. And once you start to take things off your plate, you're going to do great. And here's what I want for all of you guys. Like, just take one action today. Like, just make the list of what you do. You don't have to figure it all out today, but if you could just, when you were done with this call, done with this video, sit down at some point today or tonight and say, I'm going to make that darn list of everything I do in a week or a month. Just that alone is you taking one step today towards working less. Because guess what? Most people don't write it all out. It will shock you the amount of things that you do in your business, little or big. Just seeing it on paper, I think, will be helpful. And then you can move on from there. So I love it. Kara says, I had to step away. Thank you for your energy. I appreciate you taking the time to do this live. Hey, thanks so much. Go Tampa. Chris, gutted I missed it again. I'll watch the replay. I love it. Dr. McFarland says, are you using Ecamm to live stream? No, I'm using StreamYard, which is great. I have a friend that uses Ecamm, and he really loves that too. But StreamYard is awesome. And hey, it's free to get started, so it's a great tool. You can at least try it. They have their logo as a watermark when you do lives on their free plan, but it's super easy to use, and you can tie it into YouTube Live, Facebook Live at the same time, probably other platforms as well. It's really, really fun. And then George KC, you clarified your question. So HTML, CSS, Linux, Inkscape. So yeah, you could, back to your question about niching, I could see it going either way. Like, and you kind of could decide, do you want to talk about those 4, coding languages and just apply it to anybody that's using them? That could totally work. For example, I've taught Pro Tools, which is software for music studios and recording studios, but people use it for different genres. People use it for scoring films. People use it for just music creation. Some people use it for recording beats. Some people use it for recording, concerts. So there's different applications and different, you would almost say different avatars, but we're all using the same software. I think it's possible to niche on the software. And then that way you're going to get the SEO juice when you talk about these coding platforms. At the same time, I could see you making the case of, I really want to help people in this specific niche, like engineering or web design or web design for a specific niche using these languages. It could go either way. I think you're in a space that's big enough that you're going to have plenty of people to serve. So I don't think that'll be a problem. Awesome. If this was helpful today, let me know in the chat box. I'm so glad there was a good group of people here. Great questions. And again, tell me if you want me to continue doing live with Grams on Wednesdays, because this is the plan. And as long as you keep coming and this keeps serving you, I will continue to do it. Love it, love it, love it. Zan says, another great live session. Thanks, Graham. Awesome. And if you came live in the middle of it and you missed it, just rewind it. The replay will be done as well, and you can catch up with it. So I'm just glad to have you here. And again, I'm going to push you one last time to the Passive Income Workshop, because some of you really need to automate or reframe some of your business, especially if you're a service provider. You don't have to get rid of your service, but think about ways you could create a passive income element to your business. I think it's going to help you start to reduce how much you're doing in your business. Once you start to see some of your income, even half your income coming from the automated side, that'll be great. Awesome. You guys are amazing. Have an amazing rest of your day. We'll see you next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern for Live with Graham. See you guys.